Good morning. Good morning. I've hit the record button before I started talking. Sunday morning, 9 a.m., January 16th. We're going to talk about some real estate, among some other things. I don't have everything where I need it to be. Sorry. It's in pretty good shape. Not in great shape. Okay. So, I don't do well starting the live stream. I'm sorry. I don't know what to do. Like, should I run in, do a little dance? Oh man, now I got things messed up. I didn't even have the, so I couldn't see the chat because we're probably gonna have 17 to 18,000 people in the chat this morning on Sunday morning. So yeah, how are you? I do like one of the things that Pokimane, I saw that's the way you pronounced it. She says that you have to be engaged with your chat. You have to ask open-ended questions. So, how are you today? How are you feeling? What is your emotional state? What are you going to do today? How's the weather in your part of town? I haven't looked outside, but it's cold. I believe there's some snow on the ground. And I'm going on a road trip this afternoon, a Sunday afternoon drive. We will go to Columbia, Illinois. We will have lunch there, and then we will head to a bridge. For those of you who don't know the difference between Missouri and Illinois. So I live in Missouri, and then there's Illinois. Okay. And there's this Mississippi River. It's like a big river. And when you cross it, like you're in a different state. And so we're going to cross it up here in St. Louis, and then we're going to go down to about Cape Girardeau, cross it back into the Missouri side, and then come back home. Should be about 4 hours. Should be some beautiful scenery, even though it's winter. There should still be some stuff to see on the other side. We're probably going to take the interstate on the way up, so there's not going to be as much. But yeah, I want to get out there and just get some air, get some food. We're going to go eat in Columbia now. I don't know what Illinois' mask restrictions are. I mean, if they're anything like where I'm at, you just wear a mask and walk in, and then you're good. But Illinois has been kind of, I don't know, different. But that would be Southern Illinois for us. So I don't know if it's the same. I don't know. We'll find out. We have to show any sort of vax card or anything. We're out. We're just not going to do it. So anyway, like New Orleans, Louisiana, like we were there, and it was just couldn't go to any restaurants or anything, and it's just dumb. So whatever. So that's my afternoon. I think I got to bed at 9:50 last night. Exhausted. It's just exhausted. And I was sleeping on my couch in my theater room before then. I had dinner. It was really a great dinner. My wife is a good cook. So good. And so what did it make me, what made me tired yesterday? Well, I showed some houses, and you say, well, how can that be tiring? Well, have you ever, I don't know, I'm an introvert. And so when I meet people for the first time, it's like, it's a lot to take in. And so I met some buyers yesterday for the first time, and it was a lot to take in, like just like learning about them and, trying to do the best I can for them. And so where did we go? We looked in Florissant, mostly. We were going to go look in Ferguson, but there was nothing that he was interested in to look. And so I just wanted to go over what I saw at the first house, more from just, my perspective. And that was, we got to the house and somebody was leaving the house. which to me is always looking good. Like if I'm the listing agent, that looks good because that means people are going, and then buyers are seeing that there's other people interested. It's really hard. Look, this is who I am. I don't know about other agents, but I'm just going to go over this trick, and I have to get back to this story, I know, but let's go over this one trick that I saw that I thought was fantastic, and kind of the evolution of it. So back when I started, you used to have these sign-in sheets, okay? And you have a sign-in sheet at the place. So you'd go in, you'd sign in, or courtesy says you leave your business card if there's no sign-in sheet. And so so you would look at the sign-in sheet and you would see all the people there. Now, not everybody fills out the sign-in sheet, but you had a pretty good idea if a house is going to sell because you could see how many people were there. Now, people like myself, when I list a house, I would take the sign-in sheet and I would change it every day, so you had no idea if you were the buyer's agent. Because I don't want you to know who's all been in the house. That's not intelligence I want to give you. And so that was great, okay? And then it was great because if you were an agent, you were smart, you knew what to do. I mean, you knew how to play the game, and if you didn't, not a very good agent, but whatever. So then Corona hit. And when Corona hit, that made things dicey. For one, originally they were saying that it was a like transferred by surfaces. You know this, right? I mean, this isn't, hopefully this isn't controversial. And they said it was transferred by surfaces, so everyone was afraid to touch everything. Okay, so at the time, the rules of showing a house were you would have to use hand sanitizer on the way in. You're not allowed to touch any light switches or anything. I think you had to wear gloves. I believe you had to wear gloves. Definitely had to wear a mask, and that's how you show a house in the age of Corona. But myself and others, I mean, I'm not putting out a sign-in sheet because I don't want people touching the pen, and I don't really like touching the pen of other people's sign-in sheets. I mean, how many people are actually, some kids walking through there and, he's eating it because it's a toy, and then he puts it back. His mom says put it back, or dad says put it back, and so it's there, and it's just not. It's not the most. Even in the non-Corona time, it wasn't the most pleasant idea. Now, by the way, you're not required to fill in the sign-in sheet. As a courtesy. So I don't like to touch the pen. Anyway, so what happened was, we have this thing called Showing Time, which is owned by Zillow. It used to be on its own, but they sold out to Zillow. I think $500 million. Anyway. So in Showing Time, you set your showings, and you can see on the calendar who else has set their showings for the same house. So you can't choose that time; it gets blocked out. Now it could be that the owner says, "Well, we want to stop showings at 8:00 at night," and that's fine. But for the most part, you can see now. The thing that made it, like for all of my showings, okay, for my houses, I allow agents to come in even if somebody else is there. The reason why, at being an agent, like if I set an appointment for 1 and I'm showing 5 houses, I might not make it till like 1:20. But I sure as heck wouldn't want somebody else to miss the opportunity to go see the house. But during Corona, what they did was, in Showing Time, they restricted it. It was not from me. It was restricted by the board to where you couldn't have you couldn't have showings at the same time. It was for health, and I get it. That's not. But what it did was it made it so now all of a sudden people are blocking out huge blocks of time because they're not going to make it if they're showing 5 houses. They're not going to make it exactly at 1:00. So that instead of taking like 15 minutes like they would normally just put it in there. They put it in there for an hour. Okay. Well, there's only like 8 hours a day, or 10 hours a day, or 12 hours a day you can show a house, and so 12 people would fill this out. And so what would happen is, as an agent, they'd say no show until Saturday. All these people would put in their scheduled showings, and then there wouldn't be any space. And so as an agent, you're like, oh my God, this house is the most, looked at house in the world. You can't get into it. When it was really, the system was just not allowing you to do overlapping appointments. So what happened to my buyers that wanted to see houses that you couldn't have a showing for? Well, I just went. I did during the Corona. You have a house, no show till Friday, contract due on Sunday, and not let me have one time to go see it with my buyers because of this stupid rule. I work for the buyers. Now, did it happen a lot? No, not for me, because it just didn't. I always tried to find a time. But anyway, then they got rid of that restriction, and now it's back to where it used to be. So now you can see where everybody's going to be there, and I'm okay with that. But anyway, you use it to know if there's a lot of interest on a house, like that house the other weekend where I was telling you the agent was just a jerk. That house was, the appointments were filled up for the entire time because he had it priced $40,000 too low. I had an interesting thing. Like, let's jump into one thing and then we'll try to jump back. Remind me that I didn't mean to talk about the Florissant showing, but I showed a house in November. Okay, it was listed on like a Friday, and I knew the buyers very well. We're very good friends. Listed on a Friday. They said, "Can we go see it?" Yeah, I said yes. The offers were due on Sunday. Or on Monday, I'm sorry. Offers were due on Monday. We go see it on Saturday, and the agent calls me and says, all the offers are due by 2 o'clock on Saturday. Can you get yours in? I was like, we just saw it Saturday morning. We had like 3 other houses we saw. They haven't had a chance to make a decision yet. This is like the first time out. And so about noon, I texted my friends and I said, hey, they want offers by 1 today. And they're like, what? And no, I know it sounds crazy, but to get an offer put together, all the things in order, it does take a little time, especially this would have been their first offer. They'd never even seen the offer paperwork. So it would have taken a little while, more than an hour. So now if it's somebody that we've made offers on like 4 houses, it takes like 15 minutes. It doesn't take long at all because you kind of have a good idea what you're going to do. Long story short, they called that house. They put it pending that Saturday after 1, and I could not figure it out. I was like, they must have gotten the best offer ever. Well, it went sold yesterday, and it's sold for asking price. 2 months later, which is also unusual. Normally it's 30 days. So I don't know what happened. I don't know. There's something screwy that happened. Okay. Now, my friends wanted the house. They're very disappointed they didn't get it. And I don't blame them. I'm disappointed for them. I'm disappointed. I'd like them to get the house. And now, we're still searching it. We're going to be into February before we find a house, even if we see something and the inventory is terrible. So what would I say? So I told him, I said, something screwy happened. Period. Why would you cut your showings when you got asking price? It's like you didn't want to work or something. Very weird. It's very weird. So, kind of disappointed about that. So anyway, moving on. Now that was in Jefferson County, Missouri. So now we're talking about Florissant, which is north. Jefferson County is south. Florissant is north. So we go to the house and we're walking through the rooms, and my buyer is on the phone with his wife, who's in a different state, and they're doing FaceTime. We're going through the rooms, and I'm pointing out stuff, and the house was great. But I don't like to talk a lot during showings because I don't know who's watching. And there's a Ring camera on the front door. I'm pretty sure they're listening to us. Not 100% certain, but I'm pretty sure. So we walked through the house, and gosh, it was carpet, which I don't like, but that's okay. There were lots of kids because every room was filled with children's bedrooms and stuff. The basement was filled with children's toys, which is not a complaint. Don't get me wrong. And then the issues that I saw, one, the air conditioner was from 1980. Two, it had an electric furnace, and we live in a place where natural gas is fairly abundant. At least in the city, that's what you would normally use. Then it was a 3-bedroom, 1-bath home. My buyer has 5 people in his family. I don't think 1 bathroom is going to work. And when we looked to see where you could put in a new bathroom, it wasn't likely to work out. 1-car garage, backyard backed up to an apartment complex, which some people don't like. It depends on the apartment complex, like he said, my buyer, which I agree with. And that's that. I mean, and so when we were walking out, he was talking to me, and I'm like, next time I go to the next house, I'm going to tell him about this, because he said, like, he said, you know, some things that you would say like between 2 people, but you wouldn't say it between 3 people. So then we went to the next house. Next house was a fix and flip, and I wanted to talk about it and be honest about it. So, you know, I've said I don't like fix and flips because of a couple of reasons. One, I don't like I'm fine with somebody fixing up a house. That's no problem. But I don't know what repairs they had to do that, you know, if it's a basement leak, did they fix the basement? Like, did they really fix it? Or is it messed up and it's going to, the next time it rains, the first time it rains, it's going to destroy all the work they did in the basement? That's something I'm interested in. And then the games, like, what are we hiding? What do we save our money on? These kinds of things. So, went to the second house. Said, hey, on the first house, they were listening to us on the Ring camera. He's like, whoa. Like, yes, let's not do that again, especially if we're negotiating or talking about our interest in the house. So we don't really want to give the sellers any information other than we're interested or we're not. To me, I'm not being paranoid. I don't know that it even helps or hurts. It's just something to not do. One time I had an inspection where my sellers were listening to the buyer's inspector and the agent and the buyer talk about how they're going to ask for all these things, but if they don't get any of them, they're going to be okay with that. It's like, oh, this is bad, you know, because I don't really want to know. You know, I have enough trouble dealing with my own people, but then when you know, like, so when they had the inspection, what do you think we're going to give them all that they're asking for? It's not going to happen. So anyway, so the second house, first thing that was weird is the storm windows were up around the house, like about that far. Didn't make any sense. The second thing that was weird was there was a Volkswagen in front of the house. Well, 2 houses down, that had its lights on and was sitting there. I don't know why. I don't know what. So then we went inside. First, the house looked pretty on the pictures. It really did. And I walked in, the flooring was not of high quality. They redid the floors, but it was not of high quality. Went in the first room and looked at the windows. Always look at the windows. Windows had not been remodeled. Windows were original to the house. Windows were painted white. Looks nice, but I'm not paying a premium for a house with windows from 1950. Now you say, well, what about a house built in 1920? I don't know. What about it? I like to see the updates, and I like to, I mean, in that kind of house, that was a perfect thing to do. But anyway, it wasn't. So then walked into the kitchen. Kitchen had everything you would want in a kitchen as far as it had granite countertops, very nice cabinets, not any space at all, so that's not something that you want. And they didn't put a refrigerator in, because if you put the refrigerator in, you would see that you couldn't have like an eat-in kitchen section because the refrigerator would take up the space. While we were in the kitchen, we looked at the backyard. The backyard was flat, which is good. It did not slope towards the house. However, there were lots of trees in the power lines, and it was going to be a mess to get them out. You say, John, what difference does that make when you buy a house? It's just something we have to pay attention to the things that we're gonna need in the future. Okay, every house is gonna need something. Okay, it's just where am I gonna have to spend my money? Went to the basement carpeting. It's the Home Depot carpeting. I love the Home Depot carpeting because I see it all the time. And then so you've got a fix and flip with a basement that's been redone and carpeted. Okay, so we go there, and the first thing we see is the pipe from the sink to the basement. There is a way to get to it, a box for the shutoff, or to get in there to clean the drain. But they didn't bother to change it out. It's not PVC or anything. So, like it's and there was like, it was painted, which usually means that any sort of, we call them barnacles, that start seeping. They just scraped them off and they painted it, which apparently the paint causes it to like have a reaction, and it messes up even faster. But I don't know that that's true. That's just what I've been told. So I just want to check. Yeah, I was like, if my microphone isn't working, you guys are going to be mad at me. Anyway, so so that wasn't done. So if something were to happen, you have to pull out the wall. When the basement's remodeled, you don't know what's behind the walls, the concrete walls. So we didn't have any indication there if it flooded all the time or anything like that. It smelled dry. It had snowed the day before, but I have one set of sellers and one set of buyers. The sellers bought a house, and it was redone in the basement, and there's a fix and flip, and they made numerous errors, but one of the bigger ones is it leaked in the basement, and they had carpet, and it just gets full of water. It was a fix and flip, so it's just now they're stuck there, and I didn't represent them on the buy side or anything like that. I met them way after. But anyway, that was that. So we went to the next room, and then there was, the furnace was old, the water heater was old, the stack takes a permit to redo. Normally costs about $1,000 or more. They had changed out the PVC portion of it, like a little, the spot where the clean out is, but the rest of it had the barnacles, and you could see them. It was going to need to be replaced. So that was no good. So what you're seeing in this house now is a very, very pretty house with a lot of maintenance coming up. What was weird about this house too is I'd been to the same street. It's like I'd been there before, and it wasn't like I'd been there before. I had been there before. And somehow I still managed to miss the turn. It's weird because in this particular spot, there's a stop light, okay? And then the street is past the stop light. It's tricky. Anyway. Then we got a chance to sit and talk for a minute, learn more about each other, and we'll go from there. Now, there's a house today on the market, but I'm not interested in seeing it. I said to my buyer, if he's interested, go ahead and go take a look, but it's not going to be what they need. And that's that. That is that. So that was my showings. First time out, don't expect to buy a house, so don't worry about it. And I try to bring people along slowly. So like we'll talk about, the purchase contract. We'll try to get. He has like a tentative pre-approval, but he doesn't have a pre-approval letter. So we're gonna have to get that. I gleeked on my microphone. I'm embarrassed. I don't know when it happened. Maybe you saw it. All right. Well, let's get into it. Yesterday was like a disappointment. I hate to bring it up again, but I really wanted to talk about that article from NAR, and it didn't happen. So, and it may happen today where we get locked out of stuff. Who knows? But Google search It was about, I know what it was about. It was about Tonga. Do you know about Tonga? I don't know about Tonga. Never heard of it, but it's there today. Let's take a look. It says, this is from the Washington Post. It says, underwater Pacific volcano sends tsunami waves to Tonga, cutting off contact with outer islands. It says the fate of thousands of Tongans remained uncertain Sunday after a powerful eruption of an undersea volcano cut off communications to the outer islands of the Pacific nation. The capital, waves washed boats and large boulders ashore. According to officials, shops along the coast were damaged, but the islands were covered in a thick layer of volcanic dust. Powerful eruption of an undersea volcano cut off communications, but somehow they know that the islands were covered in a thick layer of dust and washed boats ashore. On Twitter, the guy says he's deeply concerned. They're always deeply concerned. That's the first thing they write, is deeply concerned. Australia and New Zealand are preparing to send naval ships to the area carrying water and other vital supplies. Ash clouds stretching as high as 60,000 feet mean it's unsafe to undertake aerial reconnaissance. That's hard to believe. And I mean this in the most respectful way. Like, are you telling me that we can't send a spy ship? I mean, we flew across the Soviet Union and we can't fly across somewhere where there's ash? No one believes that. Like, at least in the United States, what that was just said. It says communication with Tonga remains limited. Okay. Limited. It's not shut off completely. I know that it's causing a huge amount of anxiety. Further volcano activity cannot be ruled out. Well, when can you rule out volcanic activity? Okay, it says, tsunami waves surged ashore after Saturday's powerful eruption, causing authorities on both sides of the Pacific to warn people to move away from some coastal areas to avoid possibly dangerous ocean swells. At least 6,000 people live on someplace, I got nothing, a group of outlying islands closest to the volcano. Now, so you're sitting there on the island, and you have people saying, hey, you got to get out of we got to move. Okay. So far, there are no reports of injuries or death. Okay. And they haven't received any news from other islands or coastal areas after the main undersea communications cable was disrupted, likely because of a loss of power. Oh. I would have thought it was like a communications cable. And this is what I saw this. It said the U.S. National Tsunami Warning Center issued a tsunami advisory for Hawaii and the West Coast, including Washington, Oregon, and Alaska. And a later notice said the threat had passed. The National Weather Service in Portland reported 1 to 3 foot waves along the Washington and Oregon coast early Saturday. Is this that thing where it's a hurricane in one hemisphere and a tsunami in the other? Is that true? Check my chat. Chat didn't help me on this. Kind of. So there's, okay, so it's over here, like in the middle of nowhere. Video on social media showed waves slamming into houses and shorelines in Tonga after the latest in a series of eruptions in the Hunga Haipai volcano. I did it. I went through it. Located about 40 miles north of Tonga Tapu, Tonga's main island. It spewed ash, steam, and gas up to 12 miles in the air Friday, the Tonga Geological Services said. Now, that's nice. Who knew that Tonga had their own geological services? All domestic flights on Saturday were canceled, but I mean, that's just saying you're going there for tourism. There's not really a big point in going there if everything's covered in ash and you can't communicate with the outside world. And people are bringing you water. University of Auckland volcanologist, well, I didn't know there was such a thing, learned that today, who had studied the Tongan, he had studied this particular volcano for years, said research on earlier eruptions suggests this is one of the massive explosions the volcano is capable of producing roughly every 1,000 years. Yeah, what are the odds? 1 in 1,000. Anyway, this is interesting. He said it remains unclear whether Saturday's eruption is the climax. We could be in for several weeks or even years of major volcanic unrest. You know, just when things were calming down, now we've got to have volcanic unrest. Geologists had noted explosions, thunder, and lightning around the volcano. That's interesting. This woman says that the eruption caused her house to shake and soon after fill with water. That sucks. Houses with water just... It came in waves. My younger brother thought bombs were exploding nearby. Residents scrambled to get to higher ground, a challenge on islands that are mostly flat. So people from the East Coast and the West Coast are like, hey, or from the East and the West are saying, hey, move to higher ground. And people in Tonga are like, hey, it's flat. Like, where are we going to go? A 2.7-foot tsunami wave. I must not have that right. I mean, there's no way. A 2.7-foot wave caused, was recorded. I just don't get it. Parts of the capital were flooded. I mean, there was a 2 to 3 foot wave in Oregon, and we didn't have massive, I don't know. I must not have that right. Thoughts are with the people of Tonga tonight. Absolutely. The Tonga volcanic eruption had caused a 4-foot tsunami, somebody in Australia said. So that was 1.3 feet more than the other tsunami wave. I mean, I'm not... Man, 3-foot wave comes up to my hips. Is that in addition to the... So it'd be a 6-foot... I don't know. This is not funny. I'm not... I just feel like a 2.7... That has to be a misprint. Hey? I checked the chat just to see. But no one was there. So, okay, here we go. Let's look at some houses. We'll just look at the 3. I don't remember if we've looked at Santa Fe, New Mexico or not. Here's what I do know. The top 3 listings by price. Sotheby's has the top one. Keller Williams has the second one. And Premier Home Team Realtors has the third one. Okay? That's all I'm going to look at. I got articles I want to look at. I've got things to do and people to see. Well, you know where I'm going, so it's not true. But I did want you to see the zip codes: 87114, 87123, and 87111. So not exactly in the same spot. Let's look at the first one. 5 bedrooms, 6.5 baths, 13,000 square feet on a 2.76 acre lot. 7.5 million, 50 pictures. That's the way to do it. 6-car garage. I think that's a lot. I think that makes sense. Let's look at the property history. Listed since 2018. 7.5 million. They're pretty consistent that that's what they want for the house. Situated on one of Albuquerque's most premier lots at the base of the Sandia Mountains, this stunning contemporary home is lovingly sited on a magnificent 2.7 acre parcel nestled within the private gates of the Tanoan Country Club golf course. An exemplary piece of artwork, this 13,000 square foot home was thoughtfully designed with every attention to detail. Marble floors cascade the vast living and formal spaces, with a grand owner's suite separated from 3 large and luxurious secondary bedroom suites. A private guest suite is just off the full-size gym, which overlooks a zero-edge pool, hot tub, outdoor fire features, and a gracious covered outdoor kitchen for entertaining. Now, I just want you to know, I don't read things in a way where, like, I don't understand things in a way that it helps me. Now, this is how my agent friend Jan, this is how she would write it. Okay, but she thinks differently than I do. Like, they're trying to take you through the house, okay? But with all these words, like, instead of just saying, here's a fireplace, they say an outdoor fire feature. Instead of a pool, they say a zero-edge pool. They add so many words, I get bored. But this is much better. Look, here's what I like about this. It's in complete sentences. And how many have we read that are just, it looks like a second grader wrote them? Okay. Gracious outdoor kitchen artfully designed for hosting. The grand entrance and curved spiral staircase lead guests from the panoramic bar area all the way to a wine tasting room and nearby home theater. A gourmet chef's kitchen and a large commercial prep kitchen are fitted with high-end luxury commercial appliances. 2 separate offices are graciously outfitted with custom cabinetry and large billiards game room offer those seeking a home retreat. The home is being sold furnished as most of the decor and finishes were custom made and designed for the spaces. Some exclusions apply. Enjoy the panorama of the ever-changing New Mexico sky from every view vista that this impeccable property has to offer. So, part of the way I would market something, well, the way I normally do it is I say, like, here's the improvements, and I try to give somebody something to look out for when they're walking through the house. And then I say, close to shops, restaurants, and more, schedule your appointment today. This won't last long. And then if it does last long, I take that out after like a month. So, okay. And then what some people would want is, so like just what I do in the sense is like, now I know what I'm supposed to look for when I go to the house. Okay. So let's see. I mean, there's a pool, right? Didn't talk about this, but okay. There's the view. This is the entrance. I kind of would have liked to see more. Oh, I see. It's kind of hard to tell because there's the entrance. It's in circles. So this is contemporary, and as I've said, I'm not really like, I'm not used to it. And that's an office. There's another one. There's the billiards table they said existed. I don't know what this is. Maybe it's an office. Workout room. Theater. There's your spiral staircase in the front. Wine bar. Spiral staircase. Is that 3 floors? That's pretty interesting. I mean, no offense. This is nice and somebody should enjoy it forever, but it's just not for me. It's just not for me. This area doesn't look comfortable. Nothing about this house makes me want to live in it. Like, as far as like, I don't feel comfortable. Obviously it's not for me. I mean, $7.5 million. Only been on the market 70 days at this itineration. I'm okay with that. Just not for me. Nice house. I think the listing was presented very well. Not interested. Now we got this house. I was very interested in this. 7.2 million, 8 bedrooms, 10 and a half baths, 16,000 square feet, and on a 176 acre lot. Now, to me, look at this. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. No-brainer. I get a bigger house with more bathrooms, more square footage, and I get 174 more acres. Now, it may be in the middle of nowhere, but I'm okay with that. 38 pictures. Man, we're just on the same page. 10-car garage. I mean, perfect. 242 days on the market. Not great. But, again, it's just been listed now. There's not a whole bunch of history where it says it's been listed for years. I don't want to. This is too much for me to read. Let's look at some pictures. Beautiful. I mean, different architecture than you'd see in St. Louis. Different than what we saw in Milwaukee yesterday. Oh, it's a beautiful entrance. Yes? Oh, the pool, and it's got, I think these open. And you got a hot tub. Oh, nice. My wife would love this feature here. Love that feature. So to me, this is more of a mix of a contemporary and a traditional home. I mean, there are elements of a contemporary, but it's still got some great, traditional elements. There you go. You walk in the house, and here you can see the door. Thank you. Now we're going to walk through. Now that's where the table was, so the door's like over here. See, I need this. I need to understand where is my property on this. Oh, look, there's your barn. Pretty cool, eh? Pretty cool. And then let's look at this one, 2.7. Now understand, we're dropping $5 million, okay? 5-bedroom, 6-bath, 5,300 square feet. 10-car garage, 103 days on the market. Let's look and see how long it's been on the market. Okay, sold in 2010, listed in 2021, April. Stated 2.75 million. Okay. 63 pictures is a bit much. Hey, we're in the house. 15 pictures in. That is not a fireplace, I don't think. This room looks strange, but I think it's just the photography. I think, because if you look at it this way, it doesn't look so bad. I say strange because it looks like it's narrow, very narrow, like you can't even sit in there. Or you can't get by your friend to get to the next chair. Oh, that's nice. That's the kitchen. I mean, the cabinets are cool, right? Cool in the sense that they're different looking. Oh, it's got a pool inside or outside. I don't really know what to make of this, but it's cool looking. There's your hot tub. For me, if the hot tub looked okay, all right, if it looked okay, like the water was blue, I would say put in the picture, take the cover off. That is a great space. I mean, that is really something that we don't see very often, if ever, and it looks awesome. I'm really digging this. Oh, bathroom. Sink. I like, this is cool. Look, you come in this room and you've got like a little sitting area before you even well, I don't know if that's true. You got a little sitting area in the room. You got a fireplace in the room. I mean, that's cool. All right, 50 pictures. I'm done. I can't do anymore. I just get tired. Let's look at now. The next is we're in the articles. This is from Apartment Therapy. It says, here's how American architecture has evolved over 450 years. Now, I love this idea. Now, I haven't seen the article enough to know if it's what I want. But, do you know the difference between like a two-door and a ranch? Yes. Do you know the difference between contemporary and a two-door? Yes. But what about any of the other styles that kind of have come and gone? I was hoping that would help us. It says American Home Shield has produced a series of American Home Shield is a home insurance company. Like, I don't have the right word. It's not like property insurance. It's like if something goes wrong insurance. But that's all insurance. I don't know. There's a word for it, but I've lost it. So anyway, here we go. So this is a Cape Cod style home. Now, isn't that nice? Now I know what a Cape Cod style home is. I'm even going to save this article and I'm going to send it to my friend Jan, who's going to love this. Probably can do this. Probably can do this while we're talking. But anyway, there's a Cape Cod style. I like it. I'm going to send her an email with it because I can. Okay. I just sent her an email with the link. So that's Cape Cod. We have some of those. This would be a colonial style. Paired chimneys, crown molding, and 5 window rows are what sets this Georgian colonial style apart from the rest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. Paired chimneys, crown molding, paired chimneys. Okay. 1690s to 1830. Okay. Federal style. The style, it says the federal style housing emerged as the United States declared its independence from Great Britain. A style of architecture popular for homes, public buildings, and planning projects during this area. The design borrows from Greco-Roman history. Many of the columns and colonnades used in federal buildings, for example, are inspired by ancient Greek architecture. Flat roof. Greek Revival style house. Italianate house. Interesting. Queen Anne style home. Emerging in the United States in the late 19th century, the Queen Anne housing style includes steep roofs, round turrets, and bay windows. Bay window, round turret. I would have called this Victorian. Craftsman. Oh my God. So the craftsman styles come back in a big way. It says 1905 to 1930. Well, everyone's building craftsman houses, at least new construction, when you can. When you can, meaning like if you're building a custom home, if you're building if you've got like a home builder in St. Louis like McBride, no craftsman. No craftsman. Just ugly. Oh, did I say that? I didn't mean that. It's not ugly. It's what everybody wants. So that's nice. It says low-pitched roof, overhanging eaves, and porch with thick square columns seen in the rendering above are features commonly associated with the arts and crafts or craftsman style home. Art Deco, Art Modern style house, 1920, 1945. I've seen one of these, and it didn't go well. Major shift in architectural practices meant that design started to borrow ideas from artist movements of the day, resulting in an Art Deco housing style. Note the flat roof, portal windows, and an all-white exterior above. The house I looked at was very expensive and didn't have a basement. And my buyers were like, nope. Ranch. This is it. It says up to 1980. Brick exteriors, low-pitched gable roofs, and simple floor plans make ranch-style homes an ever-popular pick even today. These delightful homes were the most popular pick among 34 states in 2017, proving the style is here to stay. It says up to 1980. Do we not build ranch homes anymore? My ranch home, which I live in, was built in 1959. I love it. Prefabricated homes. That's a style? Modular prefabricated homes often use inexpensive, durable materials such as wood paneling, sheet metal, and steel frames. As a new generation of young Americans look to settle down, the prefabricated home offers one of the cheapest paths to ownership. I have looked at these homes built in Texas, where they're 3D printed. I think that's pretty cool. My own view is the concrete is like an insulator, so the more of it you can have, I'm totally good with. I think that you have to do something with the walls, like some way to hang pictures and things. You can't just have a concrete wall. I always get worried if something were to happen to the plumbing or something, how would you get to it? It's not like you can pour concrete again. I mean, I don't think. I don't know. What do you think? I saw the homes. They're nice. They're like, I think they're in Austin, but everything's in Austin right now because that's the place to be. All right. Let's move on from that article. I thought that was interesting. Okay, this is from a guy. He's a professor. I'm going to go down at the bottom of the page. Here he is. He's a global real estate tech strategist and a scholar in residence at the University of Colorado Boulder. He's internationally recognized as an expert and thought leader in real estate tech. His evidence-based analysis is widely read by global leaders, and he is a sought-after strategy and new ventures consultant. His research and insights have featured in the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, and The Economist. Now, he's big on like the iBuying thing, like on the Zillow thing. What he wrote was more widely distributed than anybody else, at least in the way, how do we understand what happened to Zillow? Now, this is an article that I wanted to go over, or that he wrote from 2021. I want to go over it in a sense of, I'm a real estate agent, small brokerage in St. Louis, Missouri, Deerwood Realty, and I don't make the market. Okay. In all honesty, I don't know that there's anything I could do that would influence the market that someone else couldn't steal and do better than me with more resources. So, that's just the way it is. But when we talk about lead generation, which is very important for real estate agents, like it's probably the number one thing. In fact, I don't want to say probably, it is the number one thing, and I'm interested by the topic. But I've just always felt like it's important to know your agent, if that makes any sense. So I don't really do well. I don't respond well when like I get a phone number and a name and I don't know anything about the person and I don't know why I'm supposed to call them. Like it's a lead, quote unquote, but it's not a very good lead because I don't know anything about the person and they don't know anything about me. It's a very cold lead, I would call it. Now, some agents are like sharks, man. They'll just call all day long. They'll call new leads all day long. You don't think anything of it. Maybe get success 1 in 3. No, 1 in 3. 1 day out of 3 of them, and they're happy. So I just wanted to go over this because I think it's valuable. It says next generation lead generation is the most significant business model shift for real estate portals since their birth. It is the evolution towards delivering fully qualified leads with a commission share model, and it accounts for an increasing percentage of portal lead gen revenues while bringing them closer to the transaction. So let's just go over this. I'm going to try and, so I'm not going to do I'm not going to do Zillow because once they became a brokerage, they're a competitor and they're no longer helping me. They're competing against me. So I'm done with Zillow. But let's talk about Realtor.com. And so what happens with Realtor.com is you pay money and you get leads. And you pay for the leads. The problem with the leads has always been that It could be someone that fills out an email thing. So you get their email and you send them an email and they don't know who you are. So it doesn't work. Okay. Like, so for every 100 leads that you've paid for, maybe one works. So it's really bad. And most people are like, why are you calling me? Number one. And I didn't do that. I didn't put my name and address in this. Okay. So that's how it's been. Okay. And then there was this idea, like, the leads aren't exclusive. And that is, so the same company was getting paid 3 different times to send leads to 3 different people. That seemed wrong, like inherently. It seemed like a bad plan. Because then what it became is whoever got to the lead first had the best chance. So like if somebody say somebody put in a website portal at 2 a.m., if you go to call it 2:01, you've got a better chance than the guy that calls at 8 o'clock in the morning, or girl. So that didn't go very well. And so here, like, this is just me. And this is not an excuse. Do I buy leads? No, I don't buy any leads. Well, why not? Well, it's pretty simple to me. And I'm just going to explain it from my position. So say somebody wants to buy a house and you get a lead that they want to buy a house from one of these sites. Okay. Well, they may not be ready to buy for 6 months or a year. Okay. And during that time, you need to be able to talk to them over that period of time. Like once a month, once every 2 weeks. Just talk, just so that they know who you are and remember you and want to use you eventually. That's called nurturing. Being a single, like myself and Jan, I have no time to nurture my leads. Like, you have to be interested in the business if you're working with me, because I've got to buy and sell. I've got to help buyers and sellers like within months. I don't have years to do this, because I already have clients that I'm working with that take years. Like, so there's no ability for me to nurture these leads. And so what ends up happening is the best companies are able to nurture their leads. They're able to devote either a person or some sort of system that allows them to stay on top of this. Just sending somebody random listings every day is not really keeping in touch with them. Okay. So I don't buy leads. Okay. Because it's a numbers game. And I only have so much time and I don't have the ability to do this the way you would need to. So it says there's an emergent global trend. The evolution is occurring globally and targets both buyer and seller leads. The key themes include lead qualification and a commission share model. So what they're doing differently is, rather than say, okay, for $3,000 you get this zip code, everything in this zip code you get for the month. They're saying, okay, well, we want a percentage of your commission, and for that, we will call the person and make sure they're real, and we will do it quickly. Now, I've always felt my own understanding of the rules is I'm not allowed to pay a commission to someone that's not an agent. So I don't know how they get around this, to be honest. I'm only allowed to pay a broker. I mean, as a broker, I'm only able to pay another broker. So I don't know how this works. It says he says that they've made significant investments into next generation lead gen. It says the U.S. portals focus on monetizing buyer leads, while international portals and other ones focus on seller leads. The most effective way to reach prospective sellers is with the property valuations. What's my home worth? So when you see what's my home worth, it's on my homepage. It's on everywhere you go. When you fill out the form, that gets your information, and then you call them and you say, hey, this is what your house is worth. Let me come out. Now, you say, how's that different than a Zestimate? Well, in Zillow. Well, it's not. And in theory, you're supposed to go out and take a look at the house. Like, that's what I like to do with my people. But then other people, like, they don't know you. And so when you say, hey, let me come out and see what we're dealing with, Like, no, thanks. I just wanted to internet see what my house is worth, and I can kind of do one online, but the only way to really give a good number is to go to the house. And the question then becomes: the people, do they really want a good number? Probably not. And should I spend a bunch of time putting together a good number for them if they're just window shopping? Probably not. So that's just me. So they say that's the first, okay? So it says leads are called directly by the portal, typically within minutes of submitting a form. And then the second key element is the use of a commission share or a success fee model. If a lead transacts, the agent pays a percentage of their commissions back to the portal. Now, it's a question of the percent. So let's go over some percentage splits. If you get a lead from, let's say it's a relocation lead, you could be paying up to 50% of your commission to the company that supplied the lead, or you're actually paying them. Okay. So if you're an agent, and I'm not trying to be critical, but if you're an agent and you say you get a lead for someone comes in and they're going to buy a $200,000 house. And let's just say that the commission on a $200,000 house is $2,700 off the top of my head. I'm just going to do the math here because I'm on camera and I get nervous with math. Oh, $5,400. I apologize. So $5,400. Now I got to give, let me get the calculator back up. So I've got to give, on the $5,400, I got to give half to the company. Okay. To the company that gave me the lead. Okay. Now let's add to that. I have to pay my broker a fee. Now it could be a percentage. It could be a desk fee, a rental fee of some kind. But let's just say that's $1,000 a month minimum. Now I got $1,700. So from $5,400, I've been cut down to, what, $1,700? Did I say? That's tough. That's tough. Now I got to pay my health insurance. I've got to pay for advertising, in addition to what I'm getting here. Very tough. You say, well, that's not true, and agents are screwing over their buyers and sellers. Like, you don't understand the business. It says a win for consumers, portals, and some agents. Next Gen Lead lays the groundwork for a triple win, the promise of better consumer experience. It doesn't really. It doesn't really. It just means that someone's going to call them. Less wasted. Well, and here's maybe what he's thinking is right now, if you have a non-exclusive lead, somebody fills out a form on a portal website, those leads are expensive for those agents, so they're going to be calling you and just, I mean, click. I mean, you're just going to get like 50 calls. So maybe that's what he's talking about in the consumer experience. Less wasted time for agents, I would agree with that, and more valuable product for portals. I don't really know what he means, but he's on top of this, so I'll just accept that as true. The potential downside of lead gen programs lie in their exclusive nature. It's not for everyone. Agent networks consist of small and exclusive group of the total agent pool. Okay, so this is right now how many agents, I think, get the situation right now. 100,000, less than 10% of the total get the exclusive leads. Over the long term, the agents not participating in these programs will receive fewer online leads and may be at a significant competitive disadvantage in the race to acquire customers. Next Gen Lead is revolutionizing the portal lead business model, but it only works for agents that jump on board. That's right. But you have to understand that I'm at a significant competitive disadvantage in the race automatically, because I have no ability to, I self-finance my business. So it's not like, I got nothing. If I don't sell something, I have no way to do any of this. Not a complaint. I voluntarily entered this business. I was not forced. But I mean, I'm just going to get hammered by these other companies. All there is to it. All right. Oh my gosh. I got my friend Tommy. My friend Tommy. Thank you. Yes. Hi, Tommy. I'm glad I'm your favorite. Well, you're my favorite fan. That is awesome. Man, you must be bored though. It's 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning and you're watching real estate live streaming. So I don't know if that's okay. And I'm about to head out. Man, this is awesome though. Look at that. Now you made my day. All right. Well, thank you, Tommy. All right. Well, with that, I'm going to head out. It's been a good day. I got someone on chat. Oh, that's great. All right. Well, that's it. Talk to you later.